couple of wins, the runner-ups, 9 top 5s in his last 14 starts around the world, the top 10s, the top 25s, just one miscut. So 13 top 25s in his last 14 starts. So time now for a little buy or sell. So despite what the world ranking points might say, Rory is currently the best player in the world. Paige Mackenzie, are you buying or selling?
I'm buying it. Clearly the best player in the world. Not only do you see those stats on his finishes, but when you consider the quality of fields that he was facing in that time period, a couple of major championships in there, the FedEx Cup playoff stretch, as well as the Tour Championship, the BMW PGA on the European Tour, on the DP World Tour. So the quality of people that he was playing in those events, I think, when you look at it in this stretch of time, Rory McIlroy is the best in the world.
I'll tell you, Paige, when I hopped onto the OWGR site this morning, I saw that Scotty Scheffler is still the #1 player in the world. He is the best player in the world, the 4-win season. You know, we're talking about the player of the year, Masters, WGC. And since those 4 wins, a couple runner-up finishes, Eamon, including in the U.S. Open, and a third-place finish at the BMW Championship. It's not like he's fallen off the map. He, like Rory, continues to play great golf. And I feel like the #1 ranking means something. We saw Justin Thomas kind of say, gosh, I should have been there longer. We saw Colin Morikawa kind of bump up against the #1 ranking, but not quite get there during some struggles at the Hero. Being #1 means something. It means you're the best player in the world. And until Rory passes him, and it could happen any day now, until he passes Scotty, to me, Scotty Scheffler is the best player in the world.
I think we're talking about, sorry to jump in, Eamon, I think we're talking about different time frames, because the world ranking goes back further than what I would consider to be what has happened in the last couple of months. And I think when you look at what Rory's done, there is consistency throughout the bag. There has been consistency in his results. And Scotty Scheffler, I will say, there has been a glaring absence and a glaring part of his game that hasn't been there, that was there during the 4 wins. I kind of broke it down by the first half of the last season and the second half of the last season. Going back to the fall of 2021 through the Masters, when he had the incredible stretch of wins, look at this. His strokes gained putting was over half a shot around. The last half of the season was a completely different story, and I think that's where you're seeing, and that's why I would suggest that Rory McIlroy is better than Scotty Scheffler at this moment, in this moment time frame right now, because I see a glaring weakness with what has been going on with Scotty Scheffler on the greens.
I'm with you on this one, Paige. Damon, you're underplaying the recency bias that the modern world demands of us here.
Got that right.
I mean, you're referring to something that happened back in April. You know, Scotty Scheffler hasn't actually won since the Masters. And in fairness to Rory McIlroy, he had every reason to have a lousy year because of the distractions, constantly having to be the voice out front for the PGA Tour and advocating for the PGA Tour. Some of it he assumed, some of it was because he actually answers those questions when a lot of players won't. So he keeps getting asked those questions. But what we've seen from his results this year, those 11 top 10 finishes and the 2 wins, and he's won twice since Scotty Scheffler last won, and he also beat Scotty Scheffler head-to-head at Eastlake in the Tour Championship. So I'm with Paige here. I'm inclined to think right now, in the narrow window we're looking at, Rory McIlroy's body of work makes him the best player in the world. But more important than that, I guarantee you Rory McIlroy thinks he's the best player in the world.
Scotty Scheffler misjudged that bunker shot on the last hole. And you know what's glaring and glowing? That green jacket in Scotty Scheffler's closet. That's what's glaring, the only thing glaring. And I would argue, Eamon, that you talk about distraction. I think that was fuel for Rory McIlroy. I think it crystallized his role in this game. I think it added to his play.
Oh, I
and maybe
think it could have
his...
been a distraction. I think he managed it.
Oh, he managed.
Well.
It was jet fuel for his game. For someone, I think, in Paige, correct me if I'm wrong, seems to have had an ebb and flow at times to his motivation, as all athletes do, that this moment in 2022, he had something crystallized for him, and that was this existential and real threat and live.
I may disagree with you on who's #1 in the world right now, but I 100% agree with you that what has been going on has motivated and inspired Rory McIlroy to play great golf. It certainly appears that way to me, and I agree. I thought distraction, I mean, that might have been a slip of the tongue, because I don't think that would be a great way to characterize what has been going on with how Rory has handled it.
No, he's definitely managed that process very well, but there's a reason why so many other top players have avoided that question all the time and kept it at his arm's length, whereas Rory turns around, partners up with Tiger and various other folks to try to come up with a vision along with the PGA Tour for how this thing can actually work and fend off a live threat. So what could have been an enormous distraction, he managed it particularly well in his case. But there's a lot of noise outside the ropes in Rory McIlroy's world, but there's a tremendous amount of stability inside the ropes. You know, he's got back with Michael Bannon after a brief flirtation last year with Pete Cowan. Really seems to have gotten his game in shape right there. And it's a very portable game as well. And I think this is underestimated as well. Rory wins at Eastlake and picks up the FedEx Cup. And then he goes to Europe for 3 weeks, and his worst finish there is a tie for 4th.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a guy who he's got a lot of weapons, and when he's on song, it's really beautiful to watch. And it's hard to see what a weakness is right there now.
The other thing that's worth pointing out is that the whole new proposal of this top-tier players that are basically obligated to play 20 events, Rory was very much a part of, yet he played less than that this season on the PGA Tour. So I think the extra commitment to the PGA Tour and his motivation to want to play that many more times on the PGA Tour, I think is also significant to where his headspace is at and how much he wants to play and how much he wants to go out there and continue to compete.
Yeah, it's been motivation for Rory. He also seems to be having fun with it. It's allowed him to kind of use different parts of his brain and talk about some of the geopolitical aspects of this kind of rivalry and contentious moment in golf as well.
If Rory McIlroy is having fun and wants to play a lot, it's bad news for everyone else.